guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Appa in case you guys are new here, and today I have another graduate entry program video for you, and this was actually requested as well. And I did a poll on my channel here, and a lot of you guys have messaged me and asked me about the types of programs and how you're just like confused about what programs you should really apply for, because there's so many confusing terms and confusing acronyms that they use to describe some of these programs. But keep in mind, not all programs are the same, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about, you know, kind of like pros and cons, I guess, of each type of program. And hopefully when I edit this video, I will have like diagrams and stuff, which will make it a little bit easier for you to like remember as to what I am talking about. So before we really dive deeply into this video, I kind of just want to refresh you guys about the different acronyms that we use in healthcare or nursing in particular. RN stands for registered nurse. APRN stands for advanced practiced registered nurse. So that is going to be certified nurse practitioner, CNP, certified nurse specialist, CNS, certified nurse midwife, which is CNM, and certified nurse anesthetist, CNA. So you're gonna hear that a lot throughout your nursing career and in this video, so I just thought that I should mention what APRNs are. All APRNs, they practically are able to see patients on their own and are able to prescribe medications. So that is one thing that all APRNs have in common. And then non-APRNs would be like nurse managers, nurse educators, nurse informatics. They still have, you know, a master's degree, most of them do. So that is something I just wanted to clarify one more time. And then we're also going to be using two different acronyms, which is ABSN, which stands for Accelerated Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and DEMSN, which is Direct Entry Master's of Science in Nursing. So a little bit of background about me. I have an undergraduate degree in general biology. I really thought that I was gonna go into research and, you know, go to the PhD route. Ended up not doing that. I really just not feeling it. And yeah, I kind of just decided that in undergrad that I was not gonna do that. And I truly enjoyed volunteering at a hospital, and I fell in love with healthcare. So I really needed a job or wanted to find a profession where I was actually making an impact on people, because I did my internship, I believe, in an emergency room. So that really just opened my eyes, and I was like, this is where I need to be, this is what I want to do. And that's where it all started. But I was like, you know, I was very confused about medical school and being a nurse practitioner. So I really just thought about it, and I was like, medical school is a big commitment. And also for me as an international student, it is very, very difficult for me to even apply to any, you know, medical school, because they don't even accept international students. So I was like, you know, I don't have to be a doctor in order to like make an impact on people. I can do other things and still make an impact on people. So that's my personal story, and I am one semester like away from taking the RN exam and then moving forward with my family nurse practitioner program of the graduate entry program that I'm in. Anyways, so let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about ABSN, what it really is, and all that jazz. Basically, ABSN, like I said, is another bachelor's degree. It's just like an undergraduate degree. It's the same thing that people in undergrad go to school for, like school for nursing for 4 years, except it is all crammed up in about 12 to 18 months. So that's how long they usually are. Some of these ABSN programs, they might say like, oh, we're going to give you X amount of, you know, graduate school credit. So they might say that, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that you are a grad student. Just keep that in mind. They're just going to say that, you know, you're going to get X amount of credits of grad school, but you're still a bachelor's level nurse, okay? They don't always promise you admission into an MSN program. So just because you're in an accelerated bachelor's program doesn't mean that you're automatically an MSN or a master's level nurse. Like, that's not what this program is promising you at all. Like, they're basically giving you another bachelor's degree so you can work as a bedside nurse. That is the main goal of this program. One thing which is really great about ABSN programs are that you will get hired instantly, like right after you finish it in like 15 to 18 months. Like, you will definitely get hired in some hospital. A lot of hospitals, especially like teaching hospitals, are very open to like fresh nurses. So definitely, if you live in a bigger city, more chances of you getting hired, especially because bigger cities do have teaching hospitals. You can definitely get further specializations depending on what your field is. So for example, you can get certified in critical care if you want to do ICU nursing, ER nursing, similar to critical care. So you might get that certification. So there's a lot of different certifications that your job usually will give you, or you can get the certification eventually once you start your job. So it really just depends. Your job will train you in order to become specialized in that specific patient population. So that is a great thing. But just keep in mind, you're still a bachelor's level nurse. You have the duties in your own specific field, but you're not in advanced practice, you're not a nurse educator or informatics, or you're not going to have a management position. So just keep that in mind, that you're going to be a fresh grad and you're not going to have those other roles, which are master's prepare role. I feel like these types of programs are better for you if you really truly just need to make some money. You have a family commitment and you need to provide for your family. I feel like these programs are ideal for you. And if your goal happens to be a bedside nurse, there are a lot of people who just want to be bedside nurses, and that is totally okay. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be a leader. People are leaders in different roles. You can be a leader at the bedside. You don't have to be in advanced practice in order to be a leader. You can make a difference at the bedside too. Keep that in mind, that this is not really going to give you more responsibilities in terms of your care. Like, you are a bedside nurse, and that is what you will be doing for the most part. I feel like a lot of students, they get confused when like programs promise them like, oh, you're gonna get X amount of graduate credit. They're just giving you credit. They're not giving you like an MSN specialty. So just keep that in mind, okay? So what exactly is bedside role? Again, giving medications to patients, or reporting to the provider, assisting the patients. And depending on your different field, you are going to have like either 4 to 5 patients or 1 patient. So 4 to 5 patients is like the normal, like inpatient psychiatry or med surg unit. You're gonna have like 4 to 5 patients, and in some cases even more if there is a shortage. And then in like ICU or something, you're gonna have 1 to 2, because those patients, they need to be monitored like very, very closely. So you will have that ICU and mostly in OB, especially if you're like in labor and delivery nurse, you're gonna have 1 patient, because well, technically 2, because the baby is also the patient, but just 1 mom, no more than that. But if you're doing like postpartum care, that's when we're gonna have like 3 to 4 patients again. So that is something that I thought I should mention, that I feel like ABSN is more for people who need to make money right away, want to work for a while and then go to the MSN. So that's kind of the demographics that ABSN is targeting, is like people who really just want to work right away, and it's really short, it's quick, it's 12 to 18 months, and who wouldn't love that? So if you have huge commitments, then I feel like this program is ideal for you. Direct entry MSN. Now I'm gonna put a diagram, because this is such a broad term, you guys. I'm just gonna put a diagram of like what I've kind of come up with. Don't know who came up with this term, but this is probably one of the most broad term and most confusing term for so many people. There's like direct entry MSN, there's accelerated MSN, there's I don't even know what, but direct entry MSN stands for Direct Entry Masters of Science in Nursing. There are various different types of direct entry MSN programs. I'm gonna put a diagram here just so you guys can kind of see and understand what I mean by direct entry MSN and what the different kinds are, because there are so many, and I will kind of explain to you guys the type of direct entry MSN, I guess you could say, program that I'm in, which is also very confusing in itself, but I will try my best to explain it to you guys. So the first one that I want to talk about is APRN-focused. The goal of this program is for you to walk out either as a nurse practitioner, nurse midwife, nurse anesthetist, nurse, clinical nurse specialist. That's literally their goal. There is no, some of these programs, there's like no stopping in the middle, and some might make you stop in the middle just because of your specialty. So generally, program length is about 2 to 3.5 years. There might be some programs who are like DNP focused. DNP, if you don't know, stands for Doctorate of Nursing Practice, and some of these might be DNP focused because there are some states who are switching to making a requirement that nurse practitioners should have a doctorate degree. It is not at a national level yet. I kind of hope it doesn't happen because that is something that they're still debating on. So you're literally walking as an APRN. And like I said, an APRN's role is very, very different to that of a registered nurse. APRN, again, stands for, you know, Advanced Practice Registered Nurse. So you're literally walking out with that degree, okay? That is the goal of the APRN focused types of direct entry MSN program. So they are very, very competitive. Some schools which like straight up rejected me, okay? So very competitive. You might have to have 1 or 2 years of like experience working in a hospital. Even if it's doing like CNA job, like they will take that into. So something like that. It's very difficult and competitive to get into. They get the most applicants out of all the direct entry programs because the APRN roles are becoming very, very popular. So depending on your specialty, you might have to take a break in the middle and then start the MSN portion. So for example, for, you know, psych, FNP, pediatrics, nurse practitioner, and clinical nurse midwife, clinical nurse specialist, you might just, you know, go straight through after getting your RN license. You'll start the MSN portion straight away. So some of those programs are designed that way, and then other programs, let's say if you're doing like acute care nurse practitioner, nurse anesthetist, they definitely need a couple of their months or years of experience working either in an ICU or in an inpatient setting. So it really just depends on the APRN specialty that you are going for, if hopefully that makes some sense. But the end goal is, you know, you becoming a provider essentially. Like that's the end goal. There's not much confusion in these types of programs. So if that's like your thing, like if you're like really certain you want to be at the provider level, please go for these programs. Keep in mind they are very, very competitive and that you might not get into a program like this right away. Keep trying, you know, keep up your grades, keep up your work experience, and keep applying to multiple programs if this happens to be your goal. Now, the second type of direct entry MSN program is the non-APRN focus. So this would be more like nursing management, nursing educator, nurse informatics, anyone who is a nurse, but they are again like specialized in something which is not really advanced clinical stuff, if that makes any sense. I know a nurse manager who taught our management class, and I think she has a doctorate degree, but she used to be an OR nurse, but her degree is more like business management, because that's what a nurse manager does, is behind the scene type of administrative stuff. So anything administrative, nurse educator is someone who is going to be like your clinical instructor. They tend to have a master's degree too. A lot of times they're also, you know, teaching lecture. Sometimes they do both or either one, so it really depends. And nursing informatics is again like working with the EMR, improving the EMR. I have a professor who is a flight nurse, and I think he has his degree in informatics, but he literally just works with the EMR and like just does research and how to improve the EMR. He used to be an ICU nurse, but doesn't do that anymore, just does, you know, flight nursing like once a week, and the rest of the time he's teaching or doing the informatics research stuff. So that is kind of the non-APRN role, and they will specify that. I think direct entry MSN with like, you know, a nurse management, nurse educator, nurse informatics, those types of focus. It's good for people who want a master's degree. They don't really want to be a provider, but they still want some specialization. They still have the passion to, you know, either teach or work in the management system, or have business experience and you know, managing hospital management type of experience, but they want to do that thing from a nurse's perspective. More ideal for people who want to do like non-clinical duties as a nurse, I guess, and also don't want to do like advanced practice, like I said. So I feel like these programs are more appropriate for those who want some focus in their master's, in their MSN degree. Okay, moving on to direct entry MSN no focus. I know it sounds crazy, but they do exist, and some of you guys have mentioned to me that you are applying to some of these programs. I feel like some of these types of programs with just, you know, RN licensure and no focus are a little bit confusing for a lot of people from an employer's perspective, and I will get to that in a little bit. But basically you have the same thing as a BSN. Like you don't really have an MSN. I feel like if there is no focus, I don't really see the point of an MSN, if that makes any sense. I don't want to be rude about that, but it's essentially the same thing as ABSN, and just keep that in mind. Like, just be very careful about the program you're applying to. Like, there should be some focus, right? Education or something. Yeah, so I don't really know if I would recommend this program to anyone. To be honest, I would definitely recommend ABSN over like a DEMSN with no focus. It probably might be even longer. They might not even guarantee you an admission into like an MSN specialty. Yeah, and from an employer's perspective, like I was saying, I did go visit a good known hospital system because I'm considering employment there. I talked about this a little bit. If you watch my vlogs and stuff, I did visit Minnesota not too long ago, last summer, because I wanted to make some connections at certain hospitals. And I was, you know, trying to explain to her what my program is kind of like, and that I was getting a master's degree. I did tell her that, you know, I was accepted into the MSN program, and she was honestly very confused about what a direct entry program with no focus means. Like, she was like, what does that even mean? Like, she was aware about, you know, like direct entry APRN-focused. She's like, oh yeah, those bridge programs where you do like the bachelor's and you get your APRN stuff, or you do, you know, like nursing management or something. But she was not she was very confused, like a master's level as an RN. Like, to her that was like very, very confusing. Being an RN at a master's level and like no focus, I think that was just very confusing for her. some of these programs, they might just say RN who's like master's prepared, and they might be, like I said, very confusing to employers. From an employer's perspective, they're gonna still treat you like a bachelor's level nurse. Like, they're not gonna give you more money because you have a master's degree. Of course, this depends. Like, it depends on the hospital system. For example, the main hospital systems in Cleveland here, they are not gonna give you a higher salary, higher pay, or whatever, just because you have a master's degree. Or even if you have a master's degree from other fields, they're kind of like, well, you're still a fresh grad. Like, we're just gonna give you that salary that we give to fresh grad. And there's another hospital system which considers the whole like master's thing, and they're willing to, you know, give them a little bit more money, a little bit more pay. So from an employer's perspective, please keep this in mind, that it will confuse them. That is something I definitely learned over the summer. So lastly but not least, might have a direct entry MSN program, which is like a mixture of APRN and non-APRN. And this again is kind of one of those programs where, yeah, the focus is to become an RN, but after that, what you do is like completely different things. Like, you could go into advanced practice, like I said, the 4 areas: CNP, CNS, CNM, CNA. That's kind of how my program is designed. Like, they're really pushing people to go into those fields. Or you can, you know, do nursing management, nursing educator, nursing informatics, like having some focus. A lot of times these types of programs, they're a little bit longer and sometimes can be confusing for the students itself. I know a lot of people in my program, even though our like personal statement was like, why do you want to be an advanced practice registered nurse? A lot of students in my program are not sure if they want to do advanced practice. It confused me too, because like the personal statement kind of does say like, you know, why do you want to become an advanced practice registered nurse? That was literally our personal statement. There are some people who are, you know, not going that route, get working, and some of them have other commitments, other serious commitments. I personally am not giving up my plan of becoming a nurse practitioner, and I am doing it right after I pass this phase of the pre-licensure stage. But there are some people who are not doing it at all. So it is confusing, but honestly, it doesn't matter at the end of the day what their goal is. What matters to you is your personal goal. So they might say some things, these types of mixture programs, they might say something like, we accept students most of our MSN specialties. Some MSN specialties might require additional interviewing, and this is kind of true with my program, because the FNP and pediatrics, you can start it right after you pass the NCLEX. Like, you can start it next fall. But then again, with like certified nurse midwife, nurse anesthetist, acute care NP, you definitely need 1 year of ICU experience. That's what's required at my school. And then for like certified nurse midwife and anesthetist, you do need additional interviewing and stuff like that, because they are a little bit of a different focus, and I can totally see why they do that. Like, those, even though that's still like an APRN role, I'm not gonna, as a nurse practitioner, I am not allowed to take deliveries. Totally cool with me. OB is not my jam anyways. You know, for a nurse midwife, that is really their focus, right? Women's health and having a healthy baby. Like, they literally have to do that. And same thing which goes for anesthesia. Like, obviously, like, you definitely need more of an extensive training for anesthesia, because even in like medical school, if you think about it from a medical perspective, when it comes down to specialties, you know, nurse anesthesia, OB, those are very, very specialized fields, and there's just so much that you have to learn. You do have to really have the passion for those things. Hopefully I'm making some sense. So you do have to take more chemistry and stuff in like not for midwife, but at least for nurse anesthesia stuff. So I can say goodbye to chemistry, because me and chemistry did not get along that well in undergrad. So that is kind of how my program is designed to be. And yeah, these types of programs, like you know, sometimes I feel like they will just make you take a lot of credits like the first 2 years, so that when you do your MSN, you will have half the workload, if you know what I mean. So for example, with my program, like I am taking 18 credit hours every semester. I did have a summer break. Anyways, I took 18 credit hours, but then when I start the FNP programs, I'm gonna be like 9 credits or 8 credits. So it really reduces the amount of classes that you have to take during the MSN portion. And it also allows you to, you know, like work while you're doing your MSN. So that is it, you guys. I feel like my type of program is, again, like more ideal for people who still want to, you know, do their MSN, but they really want to work, and it gives them that type of flexibility. I really don't know if other programs around the country are kind of designed like ours. Might be like the only school. That's kind of where I lie. I'm just, you know, about to finish the first 2 years of my program, and then I'm gonna have 18 months starting next fall. If you have any questions about my school and everything, just message me on Instagram. I will be more than happy to answer your questions. I know some of you have, and thank you so much. Hopefully this video was somewhat helpful. Any questions, like I said, let me know down in the comments below. Please message me on Instagram, and I will see you in my next one, guys. Bye bye.